So I was talking to somebody about the podcast, and they were telling me, "Hey, y'all's microphones are really good," and I was like, "Thanks." Co-host puts a lot of work into that, and he was like, "I can even hear the puff of the cigar."
We have a certain regular listener who does not appreciate that, by the way. So I try not to do it. Every once in a while, I'll be editing, or I'll hear it in my ears while we're recording, and I'll be like, "Oh,
that's okay.
he's not gonna like that."
I don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
What you smoking?
This is a Rocky Patel Black Label Vintage 1992.
Oh, I butchered this last time. Aganorsa leaf, Connecticut. I like this one. It's a good solid cigar.
Yeah, it's not. It's a little muggy out there, but it's cooled down. We got a little storm about to come through.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're probably going to have some thundering and some lightning while we're recording, but because of the good mics, you won't hear it.
That's true. And okay, so this has happened to me before, but I don't think I've ever brought it up to you. Walking through Walmart yesterday, in the local Walmart here, past a gentleman, I'm like, I think I know that person.
Yeah.
But I'm
so bad at that.
I'm very hyper aware that I don't really know them.
Oh.
And I don't recognize them in any form or fashion, but like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I think I know this person.
Like have a familiar face, but you don't actually know.
But don't know how.
I do that with people I actually know. I just don't remember their name or how I know them.
So we pass each other, like as we're passing, he kind of gets parallel to me. He's like, "Hey, I love the podcast." Gives me a knuckle, and we kept walking. So that I went back. I'm like, that's how I know, because I've seen their profile on our social media.
Oh, all right.
So shout out.
You got spotted.
Of course, it makes my wife is like, ugh.
Now you got to start going out with security.
No, definitely not that. Definitely not that.
I have to get you an entourage. You're probably wearing a raccoon shirt.
I definitely probably was not wearing a raccoon shirt that day. I save all my raccoon shirts for the podcast.
For pod wearing?
Yeah. Last week I had on one that was a Diet Coke. I was drinking a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Daughter bought that one for me.
We should have brought that up. That hit two of your areas. Raccoons and Diet Coke.
Yep. And then this one says most likely to bring home a street cat, and it's a raccoon.
Most likely. I'm wearing my Texas Tech dad shirt. We had a senior Sunday today, which if you're not familiar, is that a South thing?
I don't know.
Feels like it might be because, I don't know. So, this is going to sound, well, I'm just going to say it. It seems like in the South, we celebrate a lot of things through the church.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yes.
not like, yes, we're going to have a graduation party. Yes, we have actual graduation, but we're also going to have a whole day at church where we're just going to celebrate the seniors,
Yep.
right? You know, so.
Well, and then typically Senior Sunday is on the same weekend as baccalaureate.
Yeah. So we, baccalaureate's a whole thing too, Anyway, we had that today. So bring all the seniors up. There's 27 of them. There's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a big class.
Yeah.
And, basically had time to say this is so-and-so. And they're going here to do this. Walk across the stage. Next one, so-and-so is going here to do this. And then afterwards, they set up tables in the church gym. So my wife and daughter did all that yesterday and got a little photo board together and her
Nice.
letter jacket and her cords
Nice.
and some pictures and all that kind of thing. So it was a fun day. So I'm wearing my Texas Tech dad shirt and, loving life.
Two things about graduation. First off, did you receive any cords? I don't remember cords being a thing.
We had this conversation yesterday, and so my daughter's like, go get your cords. And I'm like, I didn't get a cords. I just had a stole. Beta Club stole.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And I was like, she's like, what's that? I'm like, I'll show you. It's still hanging in the closet. And so I went and grabbed it. But then when I was grabbing it, I did have a cord.
Oh.
I had one, and I remember it was for speech and debate.
Okay.
And like that makes sense because our speech and debate coach, she was on top of things.
Yeah.
And all things ceremonious and loved to celebrate kids. So that was the first. I only had one. My daughter has like 7 or 8. There's like one for everything.
Well, I think now every single extracurricular has a cord, which I think is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think you should celebrate every single possible way.
Yeah.
Like, I think now athletics is a white one in our school. So, like, even if you're an athlete, you get a cord. You know, if you give blood, you get a red one. And, like, each extracurricular is a certain color cord.
Oh. hers are all, a lot of hers, like I think she does have 7. I think 4 of them were all for her college classes.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like things she accomplished there. Like she did get her PCT certification, patient care technician. And so she has a special cord for that. Plus her being in the health sciences program, plus her being in the whole overall college dual credit program. Then each college gives her a cord. So she got 1 or 2 colleges she did classes at. Each one of those colleges gave her a cord. Yeah. She had a couple others, I don't know. They kind of go big these days. We talked about that on the last pod with the regalia.
Do you remember anything about yours, about high school graduation?
Not a lot. I remember.
We're both in the 20 plus years.
Yeah. Ours is at a big church here, close to town, largest mega church in the area, probably in the immediate area. And so I remember the tie I wore. I still have it.
Me too.
I remember. Well, I remember our valedictorian sleeve. I don't know who they were. Don't necessarily remember what they said. The speaker was one of our former principals and just absolute favorite, Ronnie Wood, R.I.P. He's passed away since. He was my biology teacher, became a principal after.
Yeah.
But he was my biology teacher, just a great human, really good guy. And so he was our speaker. I remember a couple of idiots did a couple of idiot things on stage, as you would expect. But I remember it being a little surreal because like we're doing it differently now. We're having the party on a totally different day because like we have to drive a good 40 minutes away to have graduation.
Okay.
For where we go to school. And it's kind of an ordeal. There's not really time to have a party beforehand because she's got to be there like at 5, be there at 5. And then there's not really time to do it after because by the time you do all that and hang out and then get back, so when I graduated, we were just heading up the street to the church.
Yeah.
And so we had a party beforehand and a few people came back afterwards and that's how it was. But now we're having it on a totally different day for her party. And I remember it was a little surreal. Like, people came over, I got my gifts and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I had to go. So I drove myself up for graduation and it's kind of feeling like, a little on my own, but I don't remember much.
I just remember the feeling afterwards of just a sense of loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, what just happened? But I was dating my now wife. We were high school sweethearts. So it's like, I knew that I wanted to be with her and I just didn't know exactly what that meant as far as like, we both knew where we were going to school and things like that. But like, how does that all play out? What does that look like going forward? But man, it's amazing. Like, it seems like it was just yesterday it in certain aspects. It goes by so fast about like, and I had a good friend of mine. He listens to the show. His name's Tracy. He gave us these lighters and stuff like that. And he told me, he was like, that year, he was like, this year of school will go by so slow.
Yeah.
Your senior year goes by so slow, but the next 10 years will go by so fast.
It does.
And that's one of the truest statements I've ever heard. Just as like time just speeds up so quick. And then next thing you know, now I've been graduated almost 25 years.
Yep. This was my 25th this year.
Really?
We didn't do anything.
I doubt it.
Well,
I think those things are dying.
This is my 25th, I should say. There's still time. I graduated in 01, but I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to.
Well, you see, the whole reason of a class reunion was to see what everybody's doing. Well, now you have Facebook.
Yeah.
You can see what everybody's doing.
That's interesting. I wonder if just the socials. I also just feel like a lot of people, like you have your own people. I try to stress this with my kids, especially my 2 oldest, the girls. It's like, don't stress who you're friends with right now. Like, it's going to change.
Yeah. I literally had that conversation today.
Yes. Like, and I said, if I can just be any type of, we had an end of the year soccer party and my oldest boy's soccer coach I went to high school with, who's 1 year younger than me. And so we were talking, he's like, do you talk to anybody? And I'm like, and I named 1 and like a half people.
Yeah.
Not a small class. We graduated with 88.
Yeah.
But basically there's 1 guy I talk to pretty regular and 1 every once in a while. And then everybody else is just seeing them on Facebook.
Yeah. And then 1 not graduated with you, but then 1 almost regularly.
Every week. Yeah. Because of the podcast. But yeah, like and I think that's what a lot of it is. Like, I don't know. You can go hang out, but I'd be interested to know what other people think about their high school reunions. It's not something that I feel like I'm missing out on.
I agree with you. I mean, anybody that I cross paths with that I went to high school with, I know exactly what they're doing. Like, I already know.
Yeah.
It's not anything else. But yeah, the other thing, kind of shifting gears a little bit, we have a buddy that's in our friend group that sent a receipt on. He took his kids out to dinner. He has almost the same amount of kids as us, right? He has 3 or 4. So I have 3, he has 3, and then Clint has
double that,
half of a baker's dozen. And he sent the receipt. It was talking about how much money it spent at a sushi place or something, like a revolving sushi. And the thing that stuck out to me was not the price. It was the fact that everybody got water. And I comment, I'm like, man, you couldn't splurge on some soda pop or some tea or anything. And so it got me wondering, like, anytime we go out to eat, it's not, I don't know why I don't make my family get water, but I don't want water.
Mm-hmm.
When we go out to eat, I want to drink a fountain Diet Coke. I want to drink that. So I'm not going to tell, hey, I'm going to get a Diet Coke, but everybody else at the table must drink water. I'm not going to be that guy, though.
You could.
So it got me thinking, when you go out with the fam, do you make them all drink water?
No, but here's the thing. Like, obviously not at the revolving sushi place. And his boys are a little older. I mean, we still have 3 to 4, depending on age, getting kids' plates, which comes with a drink.
Right. Okay, so that's fair.
That's kind of a difference for us. And then my older girls, no, I don't make them drink water. I drink tea. That's my drink. I don't ever get water.
I don't either.
I drink a lot of water, like, on my own. Like,
I don't drink enough water.
Yeah, but my favorite water.
I know. I see it on the table.
Do you know what these are?
It's a clear Canadian, right?
Clearly Canadian. Have you ever had one?
I'm not a sparkling water kind of guy, though.
Oh, I am.
I know. I've seen you drink every podcast. You pop the tap.
I do. Well, usually it's a Waterloo, but every once in a while, Costco will have these. Buddy, I grew up on this stuff. And They were always so expensive. My dad used to get so mad. So this is old days, right? My dad had a shop. My dad owned a business. He had a shop in downtown where we lived. And so Main Street, right there in the middle of Main Street. Well, off the corner of Main Street, it's still there now. It's much bigger and a little bit, I don't want to say nicer, but it's bigger anyway, was a gas station. All right.
It's definitely not nicer.
Yeah. And like literally back then, we could go over to the gas station and grab stuff, whatever we wanted, and say, put it on Dad's tab. And they literally had a spiral notebook.
And they just write it down.
And then write it down. And like, I would do that every once in a while, but here's the difference. I was also at my dad's shop working.
Okay.
So he didn't mind as much my stuff. My sister would go in there and Dad go like, Coke and Reese's can add up all the time, every single day.
Yeah.
And she was going home. She wasn't going to help Dad at work. So, but these, I would always get these. And I feel like they were like $2 back then. And they still are now, but shout out Clearly Canadian. I feel like this was the first flavored sparkling water. They've been around a long time. There's a lot of them now. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, there was like, Perrier and those, but those weren't really flavored.
Just lime, right?
I don't know if they even had, I never drank, my mom drank that stuff. I never drank, it was like, just straight like sparkling water. But my favorite are these Clearly Canadians, Mountain Blackberry, or they have a dark cherry. And they're so good. They're small, though. They're only 11 ounces. But after that, Topo Chico Lime is number 1.
We went through a Topo Chico period in our household, but it was right as COVID hit and they closed the border.
Oh.
We couldn't find them.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we went on a trip out of town, and we were down at HEB down near San Antonio, and there was a case of them. Yep. They had just put a case, so I grabbed a case of them. I'm pretty sure they're still in our car.
Oh, man, they're so good.
Because we just ran out, like you drank them so much that it kind of lost its...
Yeah, loses it on you.
Yeah.
But if Costco has these Clearly Canadians, I'm buying them. And I am stingy. Like, you won't make your kids drink water. I won't let them drink these.
Oh, for sure.
When I get these, they only come in like there's 9 or something in a case. It's not many. Maybe 12.
Do you label them?
No, they just know. Like, you can have lots of things. You can have Waterloo, whatever you want. But don't grab one of those. Those are Dad's.
Mine is Diet Cherry, Diet Coke. Don't grab those because they're kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
They're kind of hard to find. And when I do find them, I just grab a pack of 12 and I put it in the refrigerator. Don't drink those.
Don't touch
those
it.
are mine. Those are mine. it is amazing to me this time of year though, like how it's all kind of. We've talked about this before about how our year in our households, because we're in the educational system, like this is our January, like December into January period. Like in the business world, everything kind of shuts down the first week of December, really, and then it's kind of a lull, depending on what industry you're in, I guess. But it's kind of a lull from like December into the middle of January, and then everything really hypes up at the middle of the first of the year. But or at least the first quarter, I suppose. But right now, for us, it's one of those things where it's like the first week of summer is just chill. We don't plan anything. We try not to really go anywhere.
Yep.
Because you just, and someone who's not in education will not understand this statement, but someone who is or has a family member is, like, you're literally recovering emotionally for this entire week. And I don't know if there's another industry that's like that.
No.
Where you're just, and maybe medical field, maybe, but like your shift still kind of ends. You know what I mean? And you're not on. But it's
I can imagine it. I
definitely
think a medical
like
field would have a lot. Would be very similar.
But it's definitely like it's like a total system reset, almost like your mental, physical, social. You just kind of got to reset.
Yeah. I have 1 year of teaching in my repertoire.
I thought you did 2.
No.
Oh, okay.
But I do know a little of what you're talking about. It is the only job I've ever had. I've had jobs where I needed to like sort of decompress afterwards.
Yep.
Growing up like early college years and right after, the restaurant business was that way.
Oh, I could totally see that.
You know, you just kind of like you go home and like you take a shower and let the grease wash off of you kind of thing. You know, because I worked at a barbecue restaurant, so you're standing in front of a pit and getting smoke all over you the whole day. That was somewhat of a decompress, but teaching like every day, you just gotta like decompress.
We're moving closer to our school, and I'm kind of worried about that for our family because, like, even though it's only a 10-minute drive,
is that your drive home? Decompress? Yeah. Okay.
Well, not necessarily for me because I'm a high school teacher. I mean, it's a different decompression, if I'm being honest. Like, but my wife, she will drive home in silence. Yeah. And so I am a little worried that the 10-minute drive that is now compared to the 2-minute drive it's about to be, you're going to have a little space. Now we don't have little bitty kids like we had before, where you had to really, really focus on that. And that's something interesting too that's come about in our life is like we don't have littles anymore. I mean, our youngest is 8, about to be 9, but the amount of time that it takes to kind of decompress is a lot less. Yeah. Because you don't have to worry about a 3-year-old or 2-year-old.
Yep.
But shifting gears another time, that might be a bad bit. Kyle Busch passed away this week.
Man, what a shock.
Yeah.
We had kindergarten graduation that day, and I remember we were just getting the kids out the door to hop on the golf cart and head down to the elementary school for graduation. I remember seeing that, like, what? Like, and you immediately think, like, car wreck. Because he was known as checkers or wreckers. Yeah. And he also was known for getting speeding tickets off the racetrack. Yeah. And driving like a race car driver off the racetrack. And my first thought was like, he wrapped himself around a telephone pole. You know, that was my first thought, right? And then you look at it and it's like admitted to the hospital earlier in the day for a illness. Yeah. You're like, man, what's that? So you kind of pause and just wait to hear more. But man, apparently he was sick, didn't get better, was still racing, still trying to stay after it, got pneumonia and then sepsis, and that was it.
I do know from my wife has a tendency to get walking pneumonia, which will lead to pneumonia. And they have told her multiple times, like, if you don't stop and rest, it comes back with fury. Yeah. And I again, I'm just speaking from our experience, not this, not from Kyle Busch, but man, I do know that, like, if you don't rest, it can get bad really, really fast. Yeah.
And I get it. I don't sit down very well either. Yeah. Like I don't stop. I don't rest.
Can you imagine though? Can you imagine like a guy like that though? Like who's always at not just 100, but literally
200 miles an hour
all the time.
Well, and a lot of the race car drivers were talking about, you can lose your spot. Yeah. Especially when you're somebody like Kyle Busch is. I mean, he just won a race. He just won a race the week before. Like he's not but he is sort of, for what he's done before, out of his prime.
Right.
Like I wouldn't expect Kyle Busch to win another championship.
Right.
Like he's won 2, but somebody like that, the other drivers were talking about saying, you don't want somebody to take your spot.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of pressure to stay in it.
So I'm not super familiar with the racing world like you are. Is this like when Kobe passed away, the basketball world was just distraught? Is this that level? Or is this like an Earnhardt level?
It's not Earnhardt.
Earnhardt level. Okay.
It's not Earnhardt.
Okay.
I mean, that could be me. Earnhardt was a 7-time champion.
Gotcha.
But Kyle Busch drove a little bit like Earnhardt. Kyle Busch is notable because of his age, the abruptness of it. It didn't happen while racing.
Gotcha.
And he was the last. There's really no other driver right now. Now, Twitch and comments may correct me on this with opinions, but I don't know of any other drivers out there right now that are kind of that bad boy type driver. And he was.
Okay.
He was like an Earnhardt. I mean, he had no problem getting up there and taking the air off your spoiler and spinning you and going around you to win the race. Like, he was that guy. Which is, the thing about NASCAR is they'll get mad and they'll jump out of the car, throw the helmets off and fight, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
There's a respect that goes along with it. It's not like he's actually I don't know what you would compare it to in other sports. He's not actually a bad competitor for doing that. It's not. Some people will look at it that way, but that's really a narrow and I think a shallow way to look at it, because a lot of it's racing, and NASCAR has its roots in bootlegging.
Yeah,
running from the law. Like it's kind of in that bad boy type of rebel spirit, and a lot of the drivers these days don't really embody that.
Yeah,
like some of them have in the past, and Kyle Busch kind of had that. So it's a loss for that. He was a champion, and even though, I hate to say it like this, even though he only won 2 championships, which is amazing, like that's not a small thing, but compared to like a Richard Petty or a Dale Earnhardt, he's way underachieving on the championship scale, right? He was always in it.
Yeah.
And he raced all 3. He raced trucks and what we call the Busch race, which I think now is the Xfinity race. It's like the minors. And then, of course, the Cup race on Sunday. He did all 3.
Man.
It's just tough.
He's still young, too.
Yeah.
41, right?
41.
Yeah.
But it's I will miss watching him race. For a long time, if you're just cursory knowledge of NASCAR, he drove the M&M car, number 8 M&M car, for a long time.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I did see that they are going to semi-retire his car racing number until his son gets there.
If his son jumps into a career, which NASCAR is heavy family. There's a lot of people know about, of course, Dale Jr. and Dale Earnhardt, but there's a ton of family drivers that follow.
Because he was part of a family, right? Busch was?
He had his brother. His brother raced too, Kyle and Kurt.
Gotcha.
So
a lot of action happening at the White House this week.
Yeah.
So we're preparing for Freedom 250. Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know, but I'm excited.
I'm excited about it too. They put out the renderings of the UFC. The renderings of the UFC at the White House.
So over the top.
It's so over the top. Like, I'll try to paint a picture for you, but it's like the ring is in the.
We'll show it on the YouTube.
Yeah, the ring is in the center, obviously, of the, what is that guard? Like the yard. Like
I think it is
or whatever.
No, I think it's going to be. Let me think about my directions. I think it's the south lawn.
Okay, so it's going to be on the south lawn, and then there are massive, claws, arches coming out of the ground that are going to be full. Apparently, they're going to be full of pyrotechnics, and then massive screens, kind of to the side.
You have America's 250th anniversary while Donald Trump is president. Like,
I would expect nothing less.
Come on.
And then while this is all going on this week, we're going to play a clip. There was a shooting, a shooter outside of the White House lawn. Now, I want to, we'll put the clip on YouTube and we're going to play it now for the audio. But when I saw this, I just thought this poor lady has no fight or flight. So go ahead. Okay, can you pause it? Okay, so
I just counted 27 shots. They neutralized the subject.
Yes, they did.
And those sound like rifles. It's not like AR-15.
He, the gentleman who is a younger gentleman, I don't even know if they've released his name just yet. This just happened yesterday on the 23rd. And he had some mental health issues. He had proclaimed to be Jesus a couple of times online.
Yeah. And he was known to Secret Service already.
Yeah, and so they neutralized the subject, as Clint just said. But a lot of the media was there doing their live footage for the weekend.
Right.
And this younger reporter, I think it's MSNBC, it just turns around and looks like it's totally at a loss of what is happening right now.
Right.
And it got me thinking, like, if I heard that, I would know exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
And if you watched any of the other ones that were there, they all just ran. You can continue it.
Just kind of crouching down now.
Yeah.
Today, but this obviously comes.
And so she's just kind of standing there looking completely lost. And then she kind of
her
even
producer or
steps out.
cameraman says, I think it's fireworks. if you listen closely, like
Yeah, I
listen
heard him
back,
say
it says, I think it's fireworks. Like you're doing her no favors, buddy. Just hit the deck.
Yeah, that's definitely not fireworks. And she,
And maybe I know that sounds so well because I hear it every Saturday night just south of my neighborhood. You know, like rifles in the air.
it definitely is not, definitely not fireworks.
Fireworks.
But it'll be interesting as they continue doing all this. We haven't really talked about the reflecting pond at the Lincoln Memorial. They're finishing that up. Looks like
I
it'll
love
be
the
done next
opposition
week.
to it. The thing is like nasty, full of goose poop in there, and Trump's cleaning it up, and they're like, oh, man, this guy.
So at first they were like, we can't mess this up. You can't let Trump.
You're right. You can't mess it up anymore.
You can't let Trump ruin this. And I remember when we went, this is like
It's not nice.
It was awful, and I just remember it was very smelly.
Yes,
very smelly. But it's my understanding.
Think about this, guys. It's very shallow. You've seen Forrest Gump. You know,
you can walk in it.
You've seen Jenny run to him, like not even knee deep water. Like imagine very shallow water with a bunch of poop in it. Like it's gonna stink. It's like a swamp. It's like a cesspool. Like,
and it apparently didn't have any filtration at all.
No, it's just a pool.
Yeah, but why would they not put any filtration on it? Was my question.
I don't know.
So apparently they've added that.
Yeah,
and they have fixed some of the structural engineering stuff that was happened or that has caused it to kind of sink.
I guess that was the filtration. It leaked real bad.
And
always having to refill it.
So were they not putting fresh water into it at all?
I think they would have to. Obama was going to fix it, and he did something at a much lesser cost, but it didn't really fix it.
It was supposed to
kind of cleaned up what was there, but this, I don't know.
This is supposed to fix it. They're going to seal it with a pool liner, basically like a spray-on pool liner, and it's going to be blue.
It's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, America blue.
Yes,
of course.
I won't be able to go to DC for the America 250. I can't imagine what hotels and everything are going to be, but I'm actually looking at going back to DC to check it out afterwards. So we'll see the reflecting pool maybe after the ballroom's built, so I can go look at that monstrosity in the wrong spot.
He came out this week too and had a press conference right in front of it. Fed the press, which was a big deal.
Yes.
The press was very impressed. They haven't been fed since Obama's administration.
Really?
Yeah, that's what one of the guys was saying. They haven't fed us breakfast since then. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting kind of tidbit to put in your brain. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see as they continue to build this.
Yep.
The archway is being built. It was approved this week. The 250 Freedom Archway. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
I like it. Like every other city has them.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's cool. Again, like when all this stuff gets finished, it'll be a few years, but
yeah,
it'd be cool to go check it out and see the new stuff. But these Democrats that are losing their seats are coming out against Trump now because now they know they're lame ducks. So Trump requested another $1 billion for the ballroom for security. The ballroom itself is being paid for by private donations, but he requested $1 billion for security, and they don't have the votes. And Bill Cassidy said, no, I don't think. This is Bill Cassidy who lost his primary. We talked about it a little bit last week because it had just happened in Louisiana as a senator. So he's on the way out, which personally, like for me and how I see things, I think it's good because he was not someone you could count on.
Right.
for these things. And so you have several on the way out. I've got a little video here about Trump. We'll skip to that real quick. But last Tuesday, so the day after, 2 days after we recorded our last episode, Trump went 37-0 with candidates that he had endorsed for their races.
Tonight, a clean sweep for President Trump, with Trump-backed candidates winning or advancing in 37 Republican primary races.
We won everything. We won all races last night, every one of them. I know how to win. I think I've proven that, haven't I?
Including GOP voters rejecting two longtime Republican critics of the president, Brad Raffensperger finishing a distant third in his run for Georgia governor, and Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, defeated by farmer and former Navy SEAL Ed Galrine.
I want to thank President Trump for his support.
In his pursuit of political opponents over the last month, the president demonstrating the sway he still holds over the GOP base.
We talked about how his endorsement is the most powerful in the history of politics. I mean, anywhere in the world. I think it's just a phenomenon.
But Trump's wins also adding to a flock of lame duck lawmakers unmoored from party politics, like Louisiana Republican Senator and Trump critic Bill Cassidy, who was defeated in a GOP primary after President Trump endorsed another candidate. Today, Cassidy criticizing the billion-dollar funding request for security enhancements at the president's White House ballroom.
They could cost a lot less. It could cost a lot more. I just don't get it. And I think this could go through the normal appropriations process.
Tonight, several Republican senators say that $1 billion for ballroom security does not have enough Republican votes to pass, and they expect it to be stripped out of their spending bill.
Yeah, so, I mean, key ones. Now, this one hasn't happened yet. We'll talk about that in a second if we want to. But Trump did come out and endorse Ken Paxton. So that's the senator. We have a senator up in Texas right now. So John Cornyn has held that seat. We talked about this, in the regular primary. It was Cornyn, Paxton, and Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt, we talked about, would force this into a runoff. I thought Cornyn might have had a shot outright at the primary if Wesley Hunt wasn't in it. But with Wesley Hunt, pulled some votes out and put Paxton and Cornyn. And then I said, and I think this is going to prove to be true, Paxton beats Cornyn in a runoff all day long because the runoff is the most to the right or to the left for any party, like for either party. Those are the people that show up, like not just in a primary. A primary already has low voter turnout. And then to come back later, like the day after Memorial Day, so this Tuesday on May 26th and vote, you got to really care about politics. So you get the far right or the far left people voting, and the far right are going to vote for Ken Paxton over John Cornyn all day long. So that was a thing that happened. So that hasn't happened. That vote hasn't happened yet. It happens on Tuesday. I likely think Paxton wins, and that adds to Trump's column of endorsed candidates winning. But he held out forever, and most people thought he was not going to endorse, and he, in fact, didn't endorse until we'd had one full day of early voting. So he waited till after early voting started. Bill Cassidy's out in Louisiana, like we just showed on the clip. Mitch McConnell is retiring. We played a clip of him last episode.
Thank goodness.
Locking up the turtle. And the Trump pick wins there. So we went 37-0 on endorsed GOP candidates this past Tuesday. I think which is a strong sign. Like there's been a lot. There were some other primaries that they said kind of didn't go Trump's way. It's going to be interesting.
I'm trying to find how old he is, and it's not being. My internet is not working great. He's 68.
Okay,
Ed Galvin. So he's not young.
Thomas Massie wasn't that old.
Yeah,
he was younger than that. But I think it's a kind of reset of the Senate. Like if the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, and you're able to replace Cassidy and Cornyn and McConnell with 3 Trump loyalists, and that is huge for Trump's agenda. It really is, because Cassidy, Cornyn, and McConnell all were more establishment, not so supportive of Trump. Now, Cornyn, in his running against Ken Paxton, has said he's, right up there. He's just Mr. Trump all the way. But I think voters are seeing through that.
Yeah.
And
especially with the SAVE Act stuff.
Yeah.
and I want to play this clip from Wesley Hunt. He came out against about voter ID and Jim Crow 2.0. And I can't help but wonder if a lot of these Trump wins have to do with this SAVE Act not getting passed.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that just a second. So if you play the clip real quick.
My own father, who grew up in a segregated South, had to walk around to the back of a restaurant just to order a sandwich because of the color of his skin. That was Jim Crow. And that is precisely why it is so offensive to compare that era of legalized discrimination and racial terror to showing a photo ID in a voting booth. And it's just as offensive when groups and organizations like these manufacture faux hate and racial tension. Requiring identification to vote is not oppression. It is not segregation. It is not racism. It is a basic standard that applies equally to every single American citizen, regardless of what you look like. You need an ID to board a plane. You need an ID to cash a check. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to enter these very federal buildings. And by the way, attaining an ID in this country is an extremely low bar. But somehow showing an ID to vote in America is now considered to be Jim Crow 2.0. This is not about civil rights. This is about political theater. And the Democrat Party survives on manufacturing grievance.
I just can't help. He says in an extended version of that same clip that he has to have 5 IDs to get to that very chair right there.
I bet.
He has to have 5 different IDs.
Right.
And so a lot of the Democratic Party is pushing these ideas of like, you can't do this, you can't do that, various things that you have to have just a simple ID. And I'm not opposed to saying, okay, it doesn't have to be a passport.
Right.
But just some form of general ID. But we can't continue to push the Democrats continue to push the narrative of Jim Crow 2.0.
Right. And it's widely accepted. 86% of people agree with it. 79% of people of color agree with having an ID to vote. Like, it's widely accepted across the board. It's a small contingent of very loud, squeaky wheels, that happen to be politicians who are opposing it. The SAVE Act, we went through it line by line on the podcast, bullet by bullet. It's extremely generous. Most people already have an ID. Most people already have a real ID. You've had to have one to be able to fly for over a year now. It's been enforced. If you don't, then at the end of the day, you can do all of these other steps. And at the end of the day, if you still can't satisfy it, you can still go you can still vote provisional and go before an administrative law judge and have a hearing over whether your vote can count. There's still that ability, I don't get it. Like,
it doesn't make any
I don't get the
sense.
opposite. It's just Trump's doing it. And it's 2 things. I believe that there are plenty of Democrats out there who don't like it because Trump's doing it. And that may be their only reason. But there's also plenty out there that know they have illegal votes being cast.
Yeah.
And they know that they've won elections over illegal votes being cast.
Yeah.
And they want to continue winning elections with illegal votes being cast. That's a quote unquote conspiracy theory that I used to not give a lot of credit to until you actually start looking at numbers of registered voters versus the number of people actually voting. And when the number of people voting in precincts and voting in entire states exceed their number of registered voters on the rolls, like, you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that doesn't add up.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of going back to the previous discussion, like with the 37-0. Yeah. Like, I can't help but wonder if this is part of it.
Yeah.
Because these things have not changed. And the Republican Party is saying, hey, like, we asked, this is one of the things that Trump had run on.
Listen, like,
and the Republican voter, I'm going to speak to the people that I know that are Republican voters. They're not stupid people.
Yeah.
And they know very well what's going on. They're very hyper aware of what needs to be done in order to be successful as a Republican Party, but also for what they view the country as.
Yep.
And this is important, right? The elections are very, very important. And for us to never to be able to call into question an election again.
Right.
This is a step into that. Now, is there going to be bits and pieces of fraud? Absolutely.
Right.
You can't do away with it 100%.
Yeah.
But this definitely takes a lot of wind out of that conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and honestly, if with redistricting for the House, any Republican seats that are gained there, and normally presidents, especially presidents polarizing as Trump, lose in the midterms.
Yeah.
They a lot of times will get their majority, and a lot of this happened to Obama. That's how he got Obamacare passed, the Affordable Care Act. This happened with Bush. W. Bush, that's how he got his passed. Like, they will win the House and the Senate when they win the presidency. But then in the midterms, they'll lose the House or the Senate or both.
Right.
That happens a lot of times. But with redistricting in the House, the Republicans could keep the House. They likely, we've already kind of looked at this a while back. We'll look at it again as we get closer. They likely would already keep the Senate, but now it looks like they're going to flip seats to more Trump loyal senators.
Yeah.
The SAVE Act may not, a lot of people thought the SAVE Act would be dead if it doesn't get passed by now.
Yeah.
And it's certainly, I give it a very slim chance of getting passed before the midterms.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take effect for those anyway. The SAVE Act may have a better chance after the new Congress is sworn in next January.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was watching a political a political theorist talk about like how this is going to affect the Democratic Party down the road.
Yeah,
like it's not necessarily a huge effect right now, but when you look at the redistricting maps going forward, it doesn't. He used a word, but I can't remember. It wasn't polarizing, but that's how in my mind I saw it. Like it kind of polarizes those spots and those seats into those harsh ones to where there's very few sway going forward.
Yeah.
I'll have to find that and I'll share it on our socials.
But I did vote. I early voted this week. This past week, there's a polling center really close to the office where I work. So I went down there on my lunch break, and there was like 5 or 6 races. There's not many. The two big ones, obviously, this runoffs. So the two big ones are Cornyn and Paxton, like we've talked about, but also the Texas Attorney General, Mays Middleton and Chip Roy.
MAGA Mays.
MAGA Mays. I voted for Paxton, and the reason I voted for Paxton is this. I really thought hard about it because Cornyn doesn't have the baggage that Paxton has, and that does concern me a little bit when it comes to Tallarico with Paxton's baggage.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, Paxton is the better conservative.
Yep.
Cornyn does not have the track record of being the better conservative. Paxton is the better conservative. He will be a fighter. That's who I would rather see in the Senate, so that's who I voted for. And I'll be hoping that he beats Tallarico in November. And then I did reverse myself.
Oh.
Breaking news on the pod.
As my son would say, you Uno reversed us.
Uno reversed. I did vote for Chip Roy.
Okay. You didn't vote for MAGA Mays
Middleton?
Middleton?
I did not vote for MAGA Mays Middleton. And here's what it comes down to. I don't like Chip Roy's support. And I got called out for this, by the way. I need to issue a correction. When I say Chip Roy's support for Trump's impeachment, he didn't vote for impeachment.
Right.
But he said both times, so time number 1, Russia collusion, time number 2, January 6th, that there were impeachable offenses.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, especially since Russia was made up and it was a hoax. But I don't like his take on that. Nevertheless, as an attorney general, I think he has that experience. And you do, as much as I don't agree with his take on Trump's impeachment trials, you do want somebody who will look authority in the face and be the attorney general.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really what it came down to. And Mays Middleton is an empty shirt. He's never done anything.
Yeah.
He has family money. Okay. He is technically a lawyer. He passed the bar exam, but he doesn't practice law. He's never been in a courtroom.
Yeah, we talked about this, right?
Yeah, we did. And I just think that your attorney general should have actually argued a case before. Seems important. So I don't know, like Mays Middleton has a strong lead. He almost won it outright and didn't, and there wouldn't have been a runoff. It'll be hard if Chip Roy doesn't win. It's because Republicans have a long memory of the things he was saying in 2020.
As if I'm going based on the mailers that I've received in the mail this week.
Gosh, yes.
My brother-in-law texted me. He was like, I have a deck of cards of mailers. I've received so many this week. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I have not voted yet, but I'm going to on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to doing it on Election Day because I don't usually typically get to do that.
You'd be out of school.
Yep, be out of school. So I'm going to take my time and go to the election process. But I am going to vote for Paxton and also Chip Roy.
Yep.
So but yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. The primaries to me have never been that big of a deal.
Yeah.
until it seems like post-COVID. Right? I know they have been a big deal. Like, it hasn't been in my wheelhouse, but it's like primaries have never been on my radar.
I feel like I know what you're saying. I feel like a lot of times the only reason there's a primary is one of two reasons. You either have two really strong candidates that are really, really the same.
Yes.
With only slight differences. So it's like whoever you get, you're kind of getting the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have the front runner, but you'll have kind of a out of left field primary challenger. Some guy's got a little support in a few counties.
Yes.
And like he'll never push it to a runoff or anything. That candidate will, but you know, that's kind of in Texas and kind of like back in the day, the type of primaries you would have. The winner was usually a known. You might have a couple spoilers in there, or you would have two people that are really very similar.
Yeah.
And both just want that seat.
Yep.
And they're both going to take their chances, and whoever wins gets it. Whoever doesn't goes on and does something else. But yeah, primaries have been a really big deal. And getting out of that, where the Republicans kind of reshaping, because like we talked about, Donald Trump is not a Republican if you're going to call George W. Bush a Republican.
Right.
The party has shifted.
Yes.
There has been a monumental shift that has happened. Like it or not, that it's just what has happened. And so refreshing, so to speak, Congress with more Trump-type Republicans looks like what's going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. But Rahm Emanuel had some things to say about the Democratic Party and their direction.
I want to talk about the Democratic Party, so let's roll. Let's roll with that clip.
And Rahm Emanuel, for those who don't remember or don't know, he got Obama elected the first time, which honestly is no small feat. There are people in certain camps about Obama, and I say this just to state facts, not to make any real observations, but there are many people who think Obama's election was inevitable because he was a strong African-American candidate.
Right.
I tend to fall on the opposite side of that. I tend to still think that was more of a hindrance to him getting elected.
Okay, repeat that statement.
There are some who believe that because Obama was African-American, he was quote unquote like inevitable.
Okay.
Like we had come around as a country to a place where you finally get a very strong, charismatic, well-spoken, can energize the base type of candidate that's also African-American.
Okay.
There are many people rolling up to that thought he was inevitable. I think Obama got elected because John McCain and Mitt Romney were not great candidates.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Like I think that coming out of George W. Bush, the country wanted a shift.
Yeah. And John McCain and Romney were just
McCain was very uninspiring.
Status quo.
So was Mitt Romney with his binders of women. Remember that from the debate?
Until you said that, yeah, I forgot
when they were talking about well, if you have women in the administration, and this guy, like you tell his campaign managers and staff were just like rolling over when he said this, but he's like, I got entire binders full of women that I'm looking at hiring.
I forgot about that.
Oh, jeez, man! Like
I had forgotten about that.
But that's because we're nerds and we watch presidential debates from 2012. But I think it was a much harder feat for Obama to get elected, and Rahm Emanuel pulled that off. I think he gets a lot of credit and a lot of respect as a campaign manager, and then he served as Obama's chief of staff, which normally the campaign manager rolls into that role. He was there for 1 year because he went and ran for a mayor of Chicago and won that, served there for, 8 years or so, good long term. So this is Rahm Emanuel, Democrat of Democrats, the guy who got Obama elected, okay? And this is his take on the current Democrat Party in their state.
We lost the plot. We as Democrats nationally, from Latinx to defunding the police to police organizations are all racist to bringing a set of cultural wars to our schools. We are on the losing side of those cultural wars. Full stop. You are worried about bathroom access.
Okay. He is 100% correct.
Yeah.
He's 100. That is the cultural war is the reason why Donald Trump got elected a second time.
Yeah. And bringing it to the schools.
Yes.
Yeah. And he just says that and he goes, full stop. Like, can't add to it, can't take away from it. That's right.
You are worried about bathroom access and locker room access. Why don't you focus on classroom excellence? You have 50% of our kids not reading at grade level.
Well, they can just say we can do both.
You've proven you can't, because you've permitted a 30-year low in reading and math scores, and nobody seems to be calling the whistle on this.
That is, like, he's just calling it like it is, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like these are the old Democrat issues where they said we do better than Republicans at this. We're going to fund this better than Republicans will, and that's what has gotten them elected.
Yep.
We lost the plot.
Why?
Because the party got unanchored. Every one of our most successful electoral presidents anchored themselves in what I call middle values and values that are universal, at least in this country, ascribed to. We went from acceptance to advocacy. Big difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
So talking about everything with LGBTQ to trans, like he's saying the Democrat Party went from just like, yes, we accept you, and they would come out and probably say they accept you more or better than the Republican Party. But now the Democrat Party has turned that into the issue.
Yes.
Like we're not talking about all of these other like you talked about anchor point Democrat issues anymore. This is all we're pushing. And then what he's about to say is amazing.
And I'll just take one on that I shouldn't. So here it goes. I remember fighting for Title IX. The reason we are champions in women's sports in the Olympics and soccer, hockey, etc., is Title IX. Why would you undercut the premise of Title IX with the ability of trans men playing in women's sports? To me, it's insane.
It's baffling.
You're undermining one of the great accomplishments we as a country, but also spearheaded by the Democratic Party, Title IX. And we're undercutting it.
Holy cow.
I couldn't say it better myself. And that's the guy who got Obama elected. And like we've talked about after Trump was elected in 2024, when we first started the podcast, we talked about surely the Democrats will now turn back to their core issues. They still haven't.
Well, and you see this playing out with the mayor of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like you see this exact, what he's literally talking about right there playing out. Like, fix the homeless issue. That's been the biggest issue of that race.
Right.
I know we're in Texas, but I'm keeping an eye on that because if Spencer Pratt wins and he has said, I am not a Republican, I am not a Democrat, I'm just a guy trying to fix my city.
Right.
And so if that makes me a Republican, then I guess I'm a Republican for now.
Did you see the Fresh Prince?
Yeah, fantastic.
Did we post that?
There was some issues with copyright stuff. Okay. So no,
look that up.
That was a fantastic one.
Spencer Pratt, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air
and
parody.
It just baffles me that the Democratic Party can't see this. Going back to the voter ID thing. So after the White House shooting happened earlier yesterday, I saw on X or TikTok or someone said, "Well, you should make guns harder to get than it is to vote." And they were like, "Oh, so you want them to mail you guns?" Like that was a comment.
That, yeah.
And it's like. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
He wants to send guns to you in the mail.
Send guns to you in the mail, and it's not. It just blows my mind. So I've been
my ID and a full federal background check gets pulled every single time I buy a gun.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
All these people are like, oh, you can just. There's no background checks on guns. I'm like, how many have you bought? Well, none. Okay. Allegedly, I've bought a few.
Wait. They got lost in a boating accident.
Well, that was tragic, Kyle. You keep bringing it
tragedy.
Up. But every single time, like they run the background. You fill out the thing. You have to answer the questions about mental health and things like that. And they run the background on every single time.
And right now in Texas with Paxton Cornyn runoff happening, and then you have Tallarico on the Democratic side, I keep seeing that he's running ads right now on like we haven't had a flip in the state since 1994, and that's because Ann Richards was the governor, and she was a Democrat, but she was not this type of Democrat.
Go back and listen to Ann Richards.
She would flipping over in her grave right now of the Democratic Party that she is supportive of. And I was watching also, like they were talking about redistricting and how a lot of those West Texas counties used to be Democrat.
Yeah.
But that's not the Democratic Party of today.
Right.
And that's a flip. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago with the image of how the parties have shifted and how they've changed. And like I was thinking about my aunt. She was a blue dog Democrat.
Yeah.
She would never have voted for a Republican because she was a blue dog Democrat. She wouldn't have voted. She despised Rick Perry with every being of her soul. And she would tell you right off the part, I'm voting Democrat all the way across the board.
Yep.
And I can't help but wonder what she would be doing right now. Like, how would she vote?
Oh, I saw my grandparents change. My grandparents were the same way. And, you know, they were born in 1926 and 1929. Grandmother passed away in 2020. Grandfather passed away in 2024. And they were the same way because FDR.
Yes.
I mean, they worked on the farm.
Yep.
My granddad got off the farm by going to the army and was headed to Japan for World War II whenever the war ended. And FDR brought them out of the Depression. And so they were lifelong Democrats because of FDR. And then, so we had a congressman for many years, one of the longest serving, might have passed Strom Thurmond, I think, as being the longest serving congressman. Someone else may have passed him since then. It was Ralph Hall.
Yep.
Here in Northeast Texas. And Ralph Hall was a Democrat for a long time, but he voted like a Republican.
Exactly.
You know, he's very conservative, right? But
except for some social issues.
Right. But technically he's a Democrat. And then he finally, when W. Bush was president, he switched to the Republican Party. And so that happened. And like my grandparents were like in a quandary. They're like, so my granddad, I remember him telling me, he's like, well, I went and voted. Like this probably would have been maybe the 2002 or 2004 election. Probably 2002, probably the midterms. He's like, I went and voted for all the Democrats except I had to vote for Ralph, you know, or whichever. He might have switched till 2004, but that was the thing. He still voted for Democrats, but he had to go vote for Ralph because Ralph switched to a Republican, and Ralph was from our hometown.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like we knew the house that he like grew up in with the dirt floor and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like there was a connection there. And, but then later on, like when Obama came in after W, you know, they really switched over, you know, after the Affordable Care Act got passed. And like they, as people who'd come out of the Depression, recognized that wasn't the New Deal.
Yes.
They saw the Affordable Care Act and said, this is not what FDR did.
Right.
You know,
and even though it was publicized as that.
Yeah. Even seasoned citizens as they were able to see that difference, and they switched. So I got to see that, you know, kind of firsthand. But you're right. If if James Tallarico wants to tout Ann Richards,
he's not hold on, pause. He's not touting Ann Richards, but what he's saying is like Texas has not had a Democrat in charge since 1994.
Yeah,
and so I haven't heard. I don't want to put Ann Richards and James Tallarico in the same you know Venn diagram because they're not.
But I've seen some of that, and you see kind of like this is when we were higher in education. It shows a lot more blue counties,
right?
I'm like, yeah, well, go back and listen to what those Democrats were saying, and it's not what these Democrats are saying. It's kind of like what Rahm Emanuel just said. These Democrats don't care anything about the issues the actual things to fix.
And what he just said there, I haven't actually heard a Democrat say that. I've heard a lot of Republicans say what he just said.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard a Democrat say that. And like Title IX, like we both have daughters.
Yep.
Like in California right now, they're now giving like high school students, there's 2 different categories to where they have, you know, these track athletes coming up and they're I don't know. It's such a sticky situation too, because it's like this is a child.
Right.
And so how do you protect the child, but then also like, hey, this is not always correct?
I really thought
I don't know the answer. I really
thought
don't.
With Trump winning in 2024 and also Ted Cruz beating Colin Allred, and the bathrooms and trans issues were huge in that race. So much so that Colin Allred tried to backtrack to try to win. But people remembered what he actually said. I really thought that issue would start to fade. And then what I really thought would put the nail in the coffin was when the International Olympic Committee came out and said, we ain't doing this.
Well, I think it's got to be slow.
Because they're supposed to be like the International Olympic Committee is, very world, global, like European.
Yes.
It's supposed to be very progressive. And even they came out and said, no, this is ludicrous.
Yes.
Not the rapper, but ludicrous.
They're rolling out, aren't they?
Speaking of rappers, if you want to move on.
We got it. Let's go.
I should have put this up in the current events. Apologies. We're out of order. We've been solid into politics for a little bit, and I've got this random current event that I put too far down on the run sheet. I just saw it, and I'm not sure what to think about it. It's kind of like when we talked about Jerry Jones and Bill Clinton, being the second most man to ever come up, according to Forbes magazine. Like, what do we think about with Bill Clinton and his history, and how he was gawking over the Epstein photos like it was his old high school yearbook? What do we think about him being honored? Chris Brown, who beat up Rihanna.
That's not allegedly either.
No, beat up Rihanna, got an honorary doctorate from Harvest Christian University in Dallas. It's not an accredited university, by the way. And I'm just like, what do I think about? Like, I'm I am willing to forgive so many things, and maybe this is not right, but I find it difficult to forgive anyone who hits a woman. Not to the point of like, you can't, like, I'm not saying like you can't be forgiven. It's just like, I'm not giving you an honorary doctorate if you hit a woman. If you did some other
Society
things,
should not celebrate you.
if you did some other things in your past, then maybe your like reconciliation to society can rise to the point of you getting an honorary doctorate. I'm not saying it can't.
Yeah.
If you hit a woman, I just need you to like not doing a global stadium tour with Usher like he's doing this year.
Tickets are selling fast.
Like, I don't, man, that dude beat up a woman. Like, are we just lost in like as a society for like the men in our society that we're going to let this dude come out and have a stadium tour with Usher, get an honorary doctorate, and we're just like, oh yeah, well, he's better now. No, dude, you hit a woman. Like, there's,
So you remember I told you a couple weeks ago, I was showing the 30 for 30 about Ben Wilson. One of Ben Wilson's classmates and teammates was R. Kelly. So they interview R. Kelly because R. Kelly sang at the funeral.
oh, wow.
And so he's up there and he comes on and sings. And one of the guys that's in the class looks at me and goes,
He sang at the funeral before or after?
this is before. So this is like 1984.
That did not age well. Oh yeah, yeah.
1984.
That
when
age,
he
you're
passed.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the interview is happening in like 2002, 2003. So that was still pre all the stuff that happened. And one of my students turned around and goes, is that the R. Kelly? And I was like, yeah,
That's the one.
that's the one. And he was like, huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So
sure
he
if
was like really popular. I was like, yes, he was very popular. He's like, that didn't go over well, did it? And I was like, I was hoping y'all wouldn't catch that.
Yeah. No, I don't. Man, I think that's just one of those things.
I wasn't really sure where you were going with this. I
It's
wasn't
not-
sure if this was a.
Let me provide clarity and correct. It's not that you can't be forgiven. You're just not going to be honored.
Especially by
A Christian school.
a Christian university.
Yeah, for your impact over the last 2 decades to music and dance. Yeah, you can dance.
You can't sing.
So?
He can sing.
Mm-mm.
I didn't think about it from that perspective, but yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So I'm guessing you're not going to the Usher Chris Brown concert.
Will not go I may not do anything with Usher anymore. I mean, I never was going to an Usher concert probably anyway.
I really considered going to this concert.
But like if he did the Super
Tickets are
Bowl
good.
again, I might just turn it off for him doing a tour with this guy. Like I really have zero tolerance for it. Like maybe that's just the dad of 3 daughters talking.
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but you're kind of right. You're kind of right.
Anyway, that was a downer.
Not a clear transition to the next topic.
No.
Pause for dramatic effect. Trump largely negotiated the Iranian deal.
Yeah, he did. That's what it says anyway. It is largely negotiated. I got some fun videos for us here. Stop. Did you see what I got?
Yes. you have lots of videos too.
Oh, what is this one?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. This is what I got. So I've got, anyway.
This is producer Clint.
Oh,
This is producer Clint right here talking to us through the background.
I forgot I added one for Cuba.
Well, let's come back to Cuba. Can we
Let's
come back to Cuba? Because I do want to talk about that.
This is Iran. Here we go. Iran.
Turning now to our other top story tonight, President Trump announcing on his social media platform that an agreement has been largely negotiated to end the war with Iran.
Largely
Ralph
negotiated.
Sanchez has the latest.
Tonight, after a day of high-stakes diplomacy, President Trump announcing the U.S. is in the final stages of agreeing a deal to end the war with Iran. Following an unusual Saturday afternoon conference call with the leaders of Pakistan and American allies across the Middle East, the president posting on Truth Social, an agreement has been largely negotiated, subject to finalization between the United States of America, the Islamic Republic of Iran, and the various other countries. Adding, final aspects and details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly. The president says the deal will reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the critical waterway which has been largely shut since the start of the war, sending oil prices spiking worldwide and driving U.S. gas prices to their highest level in years. But he made no mention of any concessions by Iran on its nuclear program. The president has long said stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon was the key reason for the war, and repeatedly insisted it surrender its stockpile of highly enriched uranium as part of any deal.
We'll probably destroy it after we get it, but we're not going to let them have it.
Iran's foreign ministry said earlier that talks on the nuclear issue could be left to a later round of negotiations in up to 60 days. The deal likely to disappoint Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who hoped that the joint U.S.-Israeli attack would lead to the overthrow of the Iranian regime. Mr. Trump said he spoke to the Israeli leader and the call went very well. The apparent breakthrough came after a last-ditch diplomatic effort led by Pakistan's military chief on a trip to Tehran. The world now waiting to see if the agreement will truly end the fighting and lead to durable peace.
I looked at the kind of tenets of the deal, and this is what's being reported, right? It's obviously nobody's looking at the actual deal, but this is from Reuters. So, you know, Reuters and the AP are kind of those just straight up middle of the road. Here's the news and no fluff. It's a 60-day ceasefire, partial sanctions relief economically for Iran. They would be allowed to resume some oil exports, and I've got to think that China is pushing that to get oil. Like China needs oil.
Yeah, and that comes on the foot, on the heels of Trump visiting China.
Right. Yeah, I think those things are connected. Reopening commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, and this is the part where it's starting to feel very previous administration, and it's just talking about limits or reductions to enriched uranium stockpiles. If we did all this and went in there and did all that, and all we do is we put some more sanctions and limits or reducing their enriched uranium, then that's a failure to me.
Yeah.
Like the goal of going in there and doing all of this and all of the shock and awe of all of the bombs and all of the, was to get rid of all of it, for Iran to never have a nuclear weapon. If they still have enriched uranium, they could still have a nuclear weapon. So if that is indeed part of the deal, I don't like it. And then broader nuclear negotiations afterward. I just don't think we need to have any nuclear negotiations afterward.
Yeah.
I think the goal of this action should be that they never have a nuclear weapon. And what do we need to do to get the strait opened and get oil flowing again? But you're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Now, it could very well, again, this is early, it could very well be that Trump just can't come out and say that.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be too many people on that side. They're going to tell the people who they're negotiating with, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. And so it's one of those things where they've got to get the deal done and then see if it holds. But only a partial reduction in enriched uranium, to me, is a failure for this mission.
I think I heard it was either J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio say, if you want to have nuclear power, just have it above ground.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to have them in mountain ranges, or you don't have to have them 90 feet underground. Right. If you want to have those things, that's fine. We'll allow you to have nuclear power. Yeah. And it's my understanding, I'm by no means a nuclear engineer, but you don't have to have enriched uranium in order to have nuclear power.
It is enriched, but it's a different type. It's like a lower grade for power versus bomb making.
So if they want to continue to have nuclear power, I don't know that is necessarily a failure, but you can't go in and
that's
say...
what they've always said. I mean, their leadership...
Then don't put it under 90...
Their leadership has said forever, we're not making weapons, we're not making weapons. Like, no one believes you.
Yeah.
Because you are.
Yeah. Well, and they also said they didn't have any missiles that could shoot London or Diego Garcia. That turns out to false.
They did. What do you know? The Iranians are lying. Crazy.
Crazy thought. I hope that this is true. I hope that this is the case. I did, if you were paying attention to X over the past 2 or 3 days, they did close the Iranian airspace. The Israelis, and I believe it was the UAE, closed the airspace, and they flew jets over it all night long.
Yep.
I was telling my wife about that. So she was like, well, why does that matter? And she's like, and I was like, well, that means that we can do it.
Right.
You can fly those jets over and they can't get shot down. So I think that was a show of force without even doing anything.
Yeah.
And anytime that they close that airspace, it's a big deal. I mean, because it's not just a military exercise. You're talking about commercial airlines and everything can't fly over.
Well, and once we have air superiority, the battle is usually won.
Yeah.
If you can't shoot down our planes because we've taken out your missile sites and your Air Force, the battle, I mean, I was watching a documentary this past week about battleships. And it was actually talking about, Trump has a Trump class. He's calling it a battleship, but it's not a battleship because these military historians are saying to be a battleship, its primary weapon has to be guns, not guided missiles.
Right.
And the Trump class ship that he's designing is mostly guided missiles. And it just talks about guns were a big deal at one time.
Yeah.
But now tomahawks and guided missile destroyers plus air superiority, which is why we have so many carriers. We have far more carriers than anyone else. Really is what makes it winnable.
I'm just in a wait and see mode.
Yeah.
I mean, because it did say 60 days. They've extended it because the ceasefire has gone away, right?
I hope this does it because I feel like I've heard way too many times that we're in the final stages of negotiations.
Yeah.
Quit saying that.
Well, and then you get on X and you can't tell what's true and what's not.
For sure.
Because it's like the bots are just like, it's not even close. And then the deal has been made. And then you have Babylon B coming out saying that they have all the stuff. But
that's probably one of the best additions to our lives from COVID is the Babylon Bee.
100%. 100%.
Probably pre-COVID though, actually. I think it was like a 2018, 2019, but it was great during COVID.
Yeah.
I got some Cuba Libre stuff.
Let's go.
I have, I think this is NBC. I'll see in a second. No. It's global news. It's London. So it's a London-based news outlet talking about Trump and what he's going to do in Cuba, and then it's actual Trump talking about what he's going to do in Cuba. And newsflash, they're not the same. And then I have something else to say about that. So global news.
A show of force in the Caribbean. The USS Nimitz, with its wing of fighter jets and escort warships, dispatched close to Cuba. Some fear it's laying the groundwork for potential US military action to forcibly remove Raul Castro by the operation that ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro in January, which cut off oil supplies to Cuba.
They don't have electricity, they don't have money, they don't have really anything, they don't have food, and we're going to help them along.
Trump talking about rescuing Cubans from a crisis he exacerbated. The collapse in Venezuelan oil supplies and food shortages, leaving many people struggling to survive. We're going through a very difficult time as a country with all the issues surrounding electricity, food and transportation, and this only makes things worse. If they try to do the same thing they did in Venezuela, they might succeed, but only through a bloodbath, because we Cubans are willing to die for this country. This is a diplomatic limbo that keeps the people above all on edge, and there is no better defense than the truth, and the truth always comes to light. Both China and Russia voiced their support for Cuba Thursday, calling for an end to what they described as US threats. Russia also dismissed reports it had supplied Havana with hundreds of drones.
The future of Cuba belongs to the people of Cuba in terms of how they're governed, what the system looks like, and so forth. But the national security threat, that's 100% something we're going to focus on because that's about America.
The Cuban government has warned of fierce resistance if the United States takes military action. Vincent McAvinney, Global News, London.
So that's Global News London. Based on what they think is Trump is going to do. Now here's Trump standing next to an airplane.
A lot of people have suffered very big, very at levels that few people would understand. And I think the Cuban population of Miami and certainly beyond Miami, people that came there that were decimated, whose families were ruined, appreciate what the Attorney General just did today and was just doing now. Is just watching it. So we have Cuba on our mind. It's not going to be like the biggest thing we've ever done, but I will tell you, to a lot of people, it's going to be one of the most important. They've been looking for this moment for 65 years. So we'll see what happens. But we're going to, in the meantime, we're going to have to help them out. They have no way of living. They have no food. They have no electricity. They have no energy at all. But they do have great people. There are a lot of great people. I mean, I have so many Cuban friends in Miami, mostly in Miami and Florida, and they're unbelievable people. They're unbelievable entrepreneurs, and they'd like to go back. I think hopefully they're going to want to live here, but they want to go back. Maybe they'll invest. We'll see what happens. But we're freeing up Cuba.
Mr. President, should we expect any escalation here, or should they expect anything? Yes.
No, you won't. There won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart. It's a mess, and they've sort of lost control. They've really lost control of Cuba.
So basically, the way Trump describes Cuba is this favorite video clip right here.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's it. I've had it with this dump. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off. Okay, just calm down.
Current state of Cuba. No food, no jobs. Pets' heads are falling off.
That's a great movie. I think I might need to show that to my son.
Parent hack for things like that. commonsensemedia.com. You can plug the movie in, and it has all the categories, whether you're looking at violence or sex things or things like that. It tells you actually what's in it, so you can make the decision before you're watching it.
Yeah.
But
I think he's old enough. I don't remember there being.
It's a great movie.
There's one scene where he makes out with that girl, right? And then that's about it.
Yeah. Mary Swanson.
So I think, here's what I think about this. First off, this week, it's on our social media. I put it up there. Marco Rubio spoke in Spanish only.
Yeah, I saw that.
And directly, I didn't watch the whole thing because it was not pointed at me because I don't speak Spanish and I'm not a Cuban. But I think Marco Rubio being in this administration is intentional for this reason right here. I think that his family, I just looked it up just so I thought I was right, but his parents were immigrants from Cuba. He was raised in Miami. And he is very, very in touch and in tune with that community. 100%. I think if Rubio was 100% against this, Trump would listen to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I don't know. Things can always change, and there's going to be people who trust nothing that Trump says. But I just thought it was interesting. You had on one hand a European news outlet saying Trump's moving a carrier group off the coast of Cuba, which, newsflash, guys, like
they go through there all the time.
Basically, United States is off the coast of Cuba, so we could have some assets in the area.
I've been thinking about it from this perspective too. Like, why can Cuba not be just like the rest of the Caribbean islands?
Communism.
Like, I know why. That's where I was going to. That's what I was leading to. You buried the lead there on me. But it's a beautiful island. Like it's a beautiful place. It would be a beautiful place to visit. You look at images. I've never been there, but I've been to the Caribbean islands, several of them, and the coast of Mexico, and it falls in that same category. So there's no reason that it shouldn't be exactly that.
Flown over it a few times going to Jamaica.
Yeah.
You fly right over the top of it, but no.
And I wonder if that's the goal.
I would love, like, if it takes Raul Castro dying, or if they do go interdict him like they did Maduro, now that he's been indicted by the Justice Department, which is really the main story that's being talked about there. I think I would love to go visit Cuba in my lifetime.
100%.
Yeah.
Not to mention the Cuban cigars.
Yeah, I was going to say, with a couple guys with a podcast called the Cigar Politico.
I do wonder what they taste like. My uncle, who got me into smoking cigars, had Cuban cigars. And he would allegedly bring them back when he would come off of the ships. Allegedly. And they were banded. They weren't banded, so you know. But he still says that that's the best cigar he ever smoked.
I had two recently. One of them, excellent. Just like smooth, kind of what you'd expect for a primo cigar.
Yeah.
Another one was like dry as a weed, like burned up in my hand.
Oh, no.
But I put them in the same humidor.
The one wasn't in there long enough, probably. Maybe not.
Maybe. But I've had one really good one.
But yeah,
I got some from when we went to Key West. But I think I explained this on the pod. They call them like Cuban leaf.
Yeah.
Because they make them here.
Yeah.
But they get apparently leaves in from Cuba. Some kind of, like, this is from an actual shop. Like there's some kind of like loophole or something.
Huh.
You're limited to how many you can buy. I think I bought like 7 or 8.
Well, this might be our shortest podcast in a while.
Since the beginning.
I it is interesting how this phase of life. I was looking at the news this week and just trying to look through everything, and honestly, even though there's still a lot going on, it's been relatively slow this week, which is a good thing. I mean, when you have a current events podcast, you want there to be lots of things to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's been a relatively quiet week.
And we're in a 3-day weekend. We have Memorial Day tomorrow. Shout out to those lost. I mean, you and I growing up in the time that we grew up in, I graduated from high school, talked about graduations earlier and remembering our graduation. I graduated in May of 2001.
Yeah.
And, a few months later, September 11th happened, and I had several people I graduated with go to the military with no idea whatsoever
that was about to happen.
That we're about to have a significant conflict. And people I know, people I went to school with, were lost over there. Had friends that were lost over there, and lots of friends who lost friends that they were with in that particular war. So we always remember them on this Memorial Day, and when we get this 3-day holiday, it's always good to take that time to remember those we lost and be thankful that we can sit here and talk about politics, and we can sit here and, say negative things about leadership.
Yeah.
And not be imprisoned or put to death for it.
It's a freedom we take for granted regularly.
Yep.
One other thing, talking about graduation, Pete Hegseth gave the commencement speech this week, and I know that he has his baggage. I get it.
He's a guy who's had some baggage.
But that's the guy that I want leading the military.
100%.
Like, that's the guy I want spearheading everything that we're doing.
Yep.
And they've met their quotas, by the way.
Yep.
They're 4 months ahead.
4 months ahead. Yeah, I saw that.
They're 4 months ahead. And
did you see how the liberal media is spinning that?
No.
Military meets its infantry quota 4 months ahead as tensions escalate in Iran.
Has nothing to do with it.
I know.
Nothing to do with
like
it.
we're building up the military for a ground invasion or something.
Oh, gosh.
Like, man, they can spin it any way they want, right?
I'm telling you, though, the kids that are going in right now, I'm just speaking from my small sample, they're smart kids.
Yeah.
And they're kids that, that was kind of like the way to get out of your town. Yeah. These are not those kids anymore. These are kids that they've pursued academic excellence.
Right.
And the military is strategically going and saying, hey, we can offer you a path.
That's great.
And I think that it's amazing that they're doing that, and that the school districts locally in our region of 100-mile radius are celebrating that too.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
I liked it today. We had Senior Sunday today, and 2 of those seniors both of them are going to the Navy. And I was proud that some of the biggest cheers from the crowd came from when that was announced. You got a lot of good cheers whenever you're going to this big school. You got people going to big schools to be attorneys and to be doctors and all kinds of jobs all up and down. You got a few just going straight to the workforce. You want cheers for all of those, but I really was pleased of the cheers for those going to serve our country.
Anything else big going on this week besides graduation?
Oh yeah, my oldest graduates Tuesday, so that's happening. Trying to get that lined out.
You got misty-eyed, you told me.
I did on the senior walk, which I don't know if every other school does that too.
But
they let the seniors go walk the school. Usually they walk the schools they went to. You don't necessarily have to. But my wife teaches at the middle school that my oldest went to. So she was there. And then I got some pictures from other people took, thankfully. Thank you, other people in the hallway of, basically my daughter running up to my wife and giving big hugs. And whew, I almost stopped talking about it. And that was the one that started getting me. I haven't been gotten yet, but that one started getting me. I don't know, man. Graduation, I think I'll be just so dang happy and proud. And,
yeah. It'll be, if you do cry, it'll be happy tears.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it was for me. And we talked about this before when my daughter graduated. Like, for me, graduation was just kind of the cherry on top. It was actually the last volleyball game, which happens in October or November.
Yep.
That's what got me.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about I haven't cried much, but I did at senior walk the last football game.
Yeah.
When they walked the field.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's like that's an end of a path of their life that they are not going to get back.
So, like today on her senior table, there was one of her early dance pictures of her in ballet, and then her ballet slippers, her point shoes, were on the table, and that one got me a little bit, because it's like, she did dance, but she's not going to go and do it for a career,
right?
So it's like I understand what you're saying, like that kind of part of her life, that's a closed chapter, and like you have all of those memories, and now there's a bookend on that set of memories.
Yeah,
yeah.
And for me, it was a little different because I was the coach. I wasn't the head coach, but I was an assistant coach on the staff, and I was able to experience a lot of that stuff that God bless me with that. If I'm going to be honest with you, like there were so many paths that I tried to take to not necessarily avoid it that could have taken me out of that role. And God placed me there for that specific moment. And I'm very, 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 very thankful for that but yeah, we're in full summer mode, man. It's, we're also in the preparation of moving, which is exciting. But
couple weeks?
Yeah, we close in the end of June.
Okay.
Middle of June. But like we're trying to, we haven't.
How blessed though, like you're able to do that in the summer.
100%.
And get that before you have to head back.
It was 100% intentional too.
Oh yeah.
Intentional too. It just kind of worked out that way. I don't want to say it worked out that way. Timing is perfect in every aspect of our lives. And we're extremely blessed in terms of that. But we're slowly purging. I think the only big item that we're moving is our couch. So like we're getting rid of beds and bed frames. Yep. So 4 mattresses and a couch is all that's going to have to be moved to the new house because we're getting pretty much new stuff.
That's nice.
Oh, 100%.
That's nice. We did the same thing. We moved into this house, but this house we built in 2021. Don't recommend it. It was post-COVID and there's the supply chain shortages.
Yeah.
So we were late. I mean, we had to go live with friends for 3 months because you couldn't find anything because of the supply chain housing shortages. You couldn't find anywhere just like an apartment because there's 8 of us, so it's difficult just to get an apartment anyway.
That's a friend that you better never.
They'll let you live in. So we did that, and so we basically it was like, well, we had 2 huge like 20 or 30 foot storage units.
Yeah.
Because we had a lot of stuff. And so we lived out of storage units and out of a friend's house for like 3 whole months before we finished this house and got to move in. So we did a lot of that. We got rid of a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
We're like, listen, this is what we're going to do. And Nebraska Furniture Mart, love those guys. They came 100%. Through for us and basically filled our house full of furniture.
That's exactly what we're doing. We have a cart.
Yeah.
Is it literally a cart? And I was like,
everything in this house is like Nebraska Furniture Mart and Costco.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be Nebraska Furniture Mart and Amazon for us because it's like both of those carts are full of just stuff that we don't necessarily need right now, but it's like when we move in, we're going to need a new table because the table that we have isn't going to fit.
Yep.
We're wanting, and we haven't bought. This sounds very privileged. I guess I should. It's not, but it is. We're very, very blessed in our lives to be able to do this. But what we haven't really bought anything new in 10 years probably. Yeah. And like when you have 3 kids,
nice refresh.
Yeah, and not only that, but like things just get worn out.
Yeah.
Like our table, it just needs to be replaced. Like my wife's like, I'm going to try to sell it. I'm like, $20.
Yeah.
Like because it needs to be resurfaced. It's had nail polish.
Yeah. It's like it's been lived on.
It's been lived on, and it's not necessarily that it's destroyed.
Yeah.
But it's just when you have 3 kids and their friends come over, and you have a daughter that likes to make potions.
Yep.
On the kitchen table,
meals, homework, and projects.
Yeah, and it gets lived in and lived on, and so we're taking our couch, we're taking our mattresses, but everything else is pretty much going to get sold or garage sale. Hey, how much you want to give?
I am getting to buy something. I'm going to get it this week. I told my wife I want a new smoker. I smoked a brisket this weekend, as many may do on Memorial Day weekend. And this sucker's biting the dust, and I'm kind of tired of dealing with it, and so I'm getting a new smoker. So
what are you going to go with?
I don't know yet.
You haven't decided?
I haven't decided yet.
Are you going to go with the pellet smoker or the?
I
know you're a smoker purist.
I am, but I have a pellet smoker.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about, here's the thing about those things, man. When you are actually smoking with a real offset, with a firebox going into a tube where you're smoking, you can't leave.
No.
And if you're smoking a brisket or something big, most of the time it means you're smoking overnight.
Yep.
And you're waking up every couple hours. Like I have, temperature probes and stuff that are on my phone, and it'll sound alarms when it gets to certain temperatures or whatever. So I have that'll wake me up. But you got to set the firebox.
Right.
And you got to constantly be adding wood, changing the dampers, changing the airflow with those pellet smokers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I really am a purist, and I really like my offset, which is the one I was going to replace. But a nice pellet smoker like RecTech makes a really nice one. Man, I have a smaller one that I'll use every once in a while, but it's the problem with the pellets is that you cannot get a heavy smoke into a big hunk of meat like a brisket or a pork butt.
Yeah.
You've got to use these smoke tubes
and
add extra smoke, or you're not going to get there with just a pellet smoke. So I'm thinking about it just because, like, you know, I may need to run somewhere. Like we may have to run to a soccer game.
Yeah.
And if that pellet hopper holds 6 or 7 hours worth of pellets and it's going to control the temperature and the airflow for you, you can.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
tough.
We are not. We have always. I like brisket. I love ribs.
Yeah.
But I like the smoke taste of it.
Yeah.
So the wife a couple weeks ago, she was like, I really want ribs. I'm like, me too. She was like, let's try it in the oven. I know this is going to if you listen to this podcast and you're like,
I'm probably going to have to cut this part out.
Yeah, you're going to have to cut it out. But she cooked it in the oven, and dude, it was so good.
You are a Yankee, aren't
It was
you?
so good. We didn't use ketchup.
Your Wisconsin roots are showing.
But she's such a good cook, and I was like...
She made it happen.
She made it happen,
Yep.
and I told her, I was like, man, if we can just figure out a way to get like just the smoke, like the heavier smoke, because she used a lot of seasoning. She used some smoke seasoning and stuff like that. She tried some tricks, or she did some tricks that she'd seen on like the Cooking Network, the Food Network or whatever. And I mean, if I hadn't told you it was smoked.
As much as you talk about your wife's cooking, our next celebration episode, we're not going out to eat. We're just coming over to your house.
Dude, she made...
You'll have the new house by then.
Yeah, we can do that. 100%. She made this like, it was like a rigatoni with bacon, chicken, something. And I was like, you made this? And she's like, yeah. I was like, huh. And it wasn't like I'm not being over the top when I say everything she cooks is good.
Yep.
The other day, or just last night, she was like, hey, I think I'm going to make some breakfast sliders. I was like, okay. I was like, top notch. And I can't, it's so hard to explain.
You know what it is?
I don't know, man.
I do. I know what it is.
It's made with love.
No, I know what it is. You took this girl for your first date to Taco Bell, and she's like, oh, I'm going to have to step it up.
But like, she's such a good cook, and I'm not even saying it because I am saying it because she's my wife and I love her to death. She just knows how to cook, and she tries things, and she's like, "Ooh, that doesn't really taste right. What do you think?" And I'm like, I don't know. It tastes pretty good to me." She's like, "No, it needs this," and I'm like, "Okay." She puts it in, like, that made it better.
That made it better. You were right.
I don't know what you did to it, but it still tastes phenomenal.
Thing you say always in your marriage. You were right.
Yep. Have a great week.